Welcome everyone. My name is Colleen. I'm with Shine On Yoga, and I'm so glad that you are here today for this practice. For today's practice, it is going to be active. We are going to flow a lot. If you'd like to grab some props, some I would recommend are blocks, bolsters, maybe a blanket or two if you have it. And if you have none of those things, don't worry, you don't necessarily need them. I'll offer you some different alternatives if you don't have those. Or if you have not exactly that, that's okay. If you don't have a bolster, a pillow will do. So if you want to grab anything, go ahead and grab those. If you're watching the replay, you can pause the video. Thank you to those on the live for the love and the hearts. I can't really see from back here, so just know I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so for today's practice, we're going to start out just in a nice, comfortable seat. If you'd like to sit up on a blanket or a bolster or maybe even a block, you certainly can. Otherwise, just find your way to a nice, comfortable position, sitting up nice and straight and tall. Take some nice, big breaths. Just leave anything that's been going on for later. You can come back to it. We're just going to take this time to breathe, to kind of get into the mindset that we can take this time for ourselves. It can be hard to take time for yourself when you have so much to do. I've had a very busy day, and it's been hectic and it's been stressful and all of that, but it's really important to take the time to nourish yourself and to breathe and to pause. That way you can get on with it later on without being so stressed out. So this will be a nice little break. So we're just going to let our shoulders relax, them fall down your back. Relax your jaw, relax your forehead. Nice big deep breaths. I'm surprised we don't have a Sam or a Fritz in here. I can hear them playing. Let's take one more big inhale here. And then exhale, just let it go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and come onto all fours. If you do have sensitive knees, you might wanna put a blanket underneath your knees just to pad them a little bit, depending on the surface you're practicing on. But otherwise, we're gonna come to a nice tabletop position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and we're gonna warm up the spine with a little cat-cow. So on an inhale, we'll drop our lower ribs, we'll lift our tail, lift our head, looking forward, feeling a nice big stretch through our front body, through our chest, our neck. Exhale, rounding through, nice big stretch on the back. Inhaling, reversing that action, dropping it down into cow. And then exhaling, rounding it back into cat. Go ahead and do a few more just on your own inhales and exhales. And if one position feels really good to you, you can stay in it for a couple breaths. What are you doing, Sam? Oh, here we have Sam. Fritz ran away. He started to come in, but he had his toy, so he and Sam were just playing. All right, let's do one more round, and then we'll bring it back to a nice neutral position. Hi, Fritz. You want to come say hi to everybody? Okay, hi. All right, so now they both come in and said hi. All right, so if you're in your nice flat back, in your tabletop position, we're going to go ahead and stretch, one leg long and away, doesn't matter which one, and then the other one, and we're in a plank. Very first plank of the day, we have quite a few. Really press away from the mat. Now you can drop your knees and come into a half plank if you'd like. Otherwise, if you're up, really press back through the heels. Make sure your hips are dipping down. Make sure they're not floating up. We'll do that later. Just one long line from head to tail. Breathing, maybe shaking a little bit. We do have a lot of planks today, so be prepared. One more breath here. And then exhale, we'll lower all the way down to the belly. You can untuck the toes, let your forehead rest. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, and instead of your elbows splaying out, bring them into your sides like little grasshopper legs here. And on an inhale, we're just gonna lift our forehead up, looking forward. Little baby cobra here. We'll grow this later, so for now you can stay low until you're warmed up. Nice big breaths here. Exhale, lower the forehead down. We'll go ahead and press back up to a nice tabletop position. If your hands are directly underneath your shoulder, walk them just one hand print out so they're at a little bit of an angle. We'll tuck our toes under. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift those knees up off the mat. Straighten through the legs. Press back through the heels, and we are in our first downward facing dog. If you'd like to take your dog for a walk, you can bend one knee and then the other, feeling a nice big stretch in your calf muscles. Once you've done that a few times, bring it to stillness. Really press through the hands, press back through the heels. It's okay if they don't touch. Let your head hang. Take a few nice big inhales and exhales here. On your next inhale, look up at your hands. We're going to make our way up to the top of the mat. You can take little baby steps. You can crisscross them. You can hop, jump, float, however you'd like to get up to the mat. But once you're there, keep a slight bend in the knees. And on your next inhale, slide your hands up halfway to your shins. Keep a nice flat back here. And then on your exhale, let it go. Forward fold. You can bend your knees as generously as you'd like, or if you have blocks, this is where you can use those blocks to bring the floor up to you. And of course, there's different levels, so whatever works for you. I'm going to breathe here. Take one more big inhale here. And then on the exhale, we'll slowly start to roll it all the way up to a nice standing position here. Once you are upright, you can loop your shoulders up, back, and down. Really stand up nice and tall, hands by the side, feet really grounded into the earth, mountain pose. Take some nice big inhales and exhales here. Next inhale, we'll reach up towards the sky. And then exhale, slight bend in the knees, shift your hips back, forward fold. Let it all go. Inhale, come up halfway, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Take some breaths here, pause. All right, from here, if you are using blocks, really generously bend your knees until your hands can reach the floor. And then once your palms are on the mat, step one foot back And then the other coming back into that plank pose again, or lowering onto your knees for half plank. Take some nice big breaths here. One more big inhale. Exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Inhale, rise up, little baby cobra. Or maybe you grow your cobra, pressing into your hands, rising up taller. Now, if you feel any crunchiness in your back, lower down a little bit. You don't have to come up so high. Also, make sure you're not wearing your shoulder blade, your shoulders as earrings. You really want to pull those shoulder blades back and down. Feeling a nice big opening through your chest. Breathe here. Exhale, lower it back down. All right, we're gonna make our way back to downward facing dog. So you can come through all fours like we did before, or I'm gonna show you an alternative way to get there. So yogi's choice, but if you're coming with me, we're gonna take a nice big inhale to prepare, tuck those toes under. Exhale, press through the hands, coming back into a plank. Another inhale here. And then exhale, we'll shift our hips up and back, coming into our downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. One more big inhale. Exhale, let it go. All right, now that we're nice and warmed up, let's flow a little bit. So we're gonna make sure our left foot is planted firmly on the mat. On an inhale, lift your right leg up. Keep those toes dialed down so your leg doesn't need to be all the way up here. It can be just in line with the hip points. Again, toes pointed down. Inhale. Exhale, bend that knee in towards your chest. Shift forward, look forward, and then you can step that right foot in between your palms. Go ahead and pivot on that left foot so it's pointing towards the left front corner of your mat. And on an inhale, we're going to rise up, keep that front knee bent, coming into a warrior two. Now your legs should be on two separate parallel train tracks, not on a tightrope. Separate. This front knee should be at a nice 90-degree angle to your ankle, there. And when you look down, you should be able to see your big toe. If you can't see your big toe, press that knee out towards the outer edge of your mat. Okay? Now, you also want to make sure you're not drifting too far forward, that you're not pulling too far back. You want to stay very centered with your torso. Press through the knife edge of that left foot there. And then your hands can stay on your waist, or you can reach them out to either side if you'd like. And then if you want a little more, you can look out over your right hand in this nice warrior two pose. Breathe here. One more big inhale here. And then on the exhale, drop your left hand down, reach your right arm up. Look at your right hand coming into a peaceful warrior. Keep your legs where they are. Breathe here, just feeling into it. Feel a nice stretch on that right side. One more breath here. And then exhale, go ahead and place your right hand or your right forearm on your right leg. Spiral your heart up towards the sky. Your hand can stay on your waist, or maybe you want to lift it up towards the sky. Or you can even bring it up by your ear. Completely up to you. And if it's in your practice, you can take your right hand down to the floor even. So choose your position. Breathe here. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll float that left arm down. Go ahead and frame your right foot with your hands. You'll pivot on that left foot, looking forward. We'll place our left palm on the mat. Reach your right arm up to the sky, coming into a little twist. Breathe here. One more big inhale. And then exhale, float that right palm down to the mat. We'll step our right toes back into plank or half plank. Completely up to you. Breathe. One more breath. And then exhale, we'll lower it all the way down to the belly. Whew. Inhale, rise up to your version of cobra. Breathe. Exhale, lower it down. All right, from here I'll meet you in downward facing dog. So you can come through all fours or through a plank. All right, side two. Make sure your right foot is firmly planted into the mat. On an inhale, we'll lift our left foot up, toes dialed down. Exhale, shift forward, bend that left knee in towards your chest. Then we'll step our left foot in between our hands this time. Pivot on that right foot. And then we'll rise up, coming into our version of warrior two. Again, make sure, nice 90-degree angle. You're not drifting too far forward or back. And make sure you can see your big toe. Breathe. When you're ready, we'll drop the right hand down, lift the left arm up towards the sky, and look at it. Peaceful warrior. Breathe here. Sam and Fritz are not being peaceful warriors right now with whatever they are barking at. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, left arm to your left knee. Spiral your chest up towards the sky. And then your right hand can be up to the sky or reach down above your head. If it's in your practice, you can bring that left hand down to the mat. Wherever you're at, just make sure you're breathing. Make sure your chest is nice and open. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll plant our palms onto the mat, framing that left foot, spiral on that right foot, and then we'll step our left foot back to meet our right, coming back into our plank. Breathe here. One more big inhale here. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat, untuck the toes. Inhale, rise up into your version of cobra. Breathe. Exhale, lower it back down. I'll meet you in downward facing dog. What are you guys barking at, huh? right, when you're ready, look forward at your hands. Start to make your way up towards the top of your mat, but just bring your feet behind your hands. Now from here, make sure your feet are as wide as your mat. Go ahead and let your toes spill off the mat. So your feet are going to be a little bit out. From here, start to bend through your knees, and we're going to come down into a squat position. So maybe you don't go super far today. Maybe you're just here. Maybe you're just playing with it. You can play with some different levels. Or maybe you're able to come down, but you need to keep your hands on the mat. It's perfectly okay. Or maybe you can bring your hands together and you can come into more of like a yogic squat. I'm going to try and walk myself around here so you can see. It's pretty good. All right, so you could be down here, or maybe you're here, or maybe you're here. Completely up to you. So find your positioning. It does not have to look like mine. My hips are pretty open. I've been doing this for quite a while, so I'm able to get down here. I understand not everybody is, so if you're not, do not beat yourself up. Hit your appropriate edge without injury, please. All right. Keep breathing here. Wherever you're at, I'm going to try and turn back this way maybe. I apologize for the noise. This is the at-home yoga practice. We deal with dogs and noise and disruptions and all sorts of things. Hey, can you give it a rest, please? All right. When you're ready, if your hands are not already on the mat, place them on the mat. Go ahead and straighten through the legs. Bring them back in line with the hip points. And when you're ready on an inhale, come up halfway, nice flat back. Exhale, let it go. And we're going to breathe here. Whew, that was a lot on those hips. All right, from here, really generously bend your legs. Bring your torso on top of your thighs. So we're going to bend it that much to where you're just kind of resting on your thighs here. And then start to bring your torso upright like you're sitting back. We're coming into a chair pose. Really sink your weight into your heels, maybe even lift your toes up off the mat. And if you'd like a little more, you can send your arms out in front of you, sinking into that chair. Breathe here. This is great if you go to a lot of events where there's a porta potty and you need to hover. This is a great leg strengthener. One more breath here. And then exhale, go ahead and stand it all up. Stand it all the way up. Let your arms come down to your side, coming into your mountain pose. Whew. Take some stillness here. Take a breath. All right. So I'm going to turn this way just to talk to you guys for just a moment because we're going to do some balancing now. A couple of balancing poses that I've stacked together. If you're not able to do these, it's okay. You can play with it. You can practice it. I know it doesn't come naturally to everybody, so don't beat yourself up if you can't do the next couple of poses. Play with it and just try it. And I'll give you some suggestions for some alternatives that you can use as well. I am going to be facing this way, but for this pose, this first one, I'm just going to turn this way so you can kind of see it a little better, and then I'll turn to the side. So when you work with balancing, just a quick tip, find some focal point in front of you. It can be down on the floor, like in front of you a little bit. The important thing is to make sure it's not moving, because if it's moving, you tend to move with it. So try and focus on that point anytime you balance, and you might need to switch it up. So again, This is playtime. Don't take it too seriously, except in not getting hurt. All right, so let's shift our weight over to the right. When I say shift, it's a slight shift. You're just shifting, you're not dumping. If you're dumping, you're putting all your weight. You can see the hip is gonna press out, all of that. So if you're shifting, you're just shifting that weight over. You're still in integrity in this nice straight line. From here, we're gonna lift our right or our left heel up, and maybe you stay here today. Your hands can be on your hips, they can be at prayer. You can do whatever you'd like with your hands, whatever feels natural. If you'd like a little bit more, then maybe you play with lifting that knee up, coming into a one-legged Tadasana. And if you're here, you can rotate your ankle one way and then the other, just getting some ankle love in there. So completely up to you. I'm going to turn back to the side now. So just play with this, play with your balance. If you fall out, just try it again, or maybe just keep your foot on the floor today. Breathe here. One more breath. All right, from here, you're more than welcome to put your foot down, or we can take this foot and start to bring it back behind you as you shift your weight forward. This is where finding that spot on the floor can help. Woo! And you're just going to tip forward until we're in a warrior three. Now your hands can be back like airplane arms. You can reach them forward. If you fall out, that's fine. If this is not for you, then maybe just slide your toes back to touch and just kind of hinge forward a little bit. Just to practice. So play with it. If you fall out, it's okay. Play a little bit more. Take a few breaths here. And then once you're ready to come out, you can either just come back out to standing or try and bring your torso back up straight, bring your leg in, try and bring it back through that one-legged Tadasana, and then set your foot down. You can shake that standing leg out if you'd like. Sometimes that foot cramps up a little bit. It can also be nice to come to the top of the foot just to kind of stretch out that ankle a little bit too. So hopefully you did good on that side. You have a whole nother side to practice on. And if you didn't do great, it's okay. Again, we're just gonna play, we're gonna practice again and see what happens. All right, so this time let's shift our weight over to the left side. When you're ready, we'll start to peel up through that right foot, lifting it into a one-legged Tadasana. So you can breathe here. One more breath. And then either slide your leg back, you can place it on the floor, or you can shift that leg back, hinging forward, coming into a warrior three. Keep those toes dialed down. Try and keep your hips level. Arms can be back in airplane arms, or you can reach them forward. Breathe wherever you're at. One more breath here. And then exhale. You can either return to standing, woo, you can fall out. You can try and come back through that one-legged Tadasana. It can be different for each side, so again, work with what is working for you today. And we'll just breathe here for a moment. I'm going to come to the long edge of my mat here. And we're going to start to break up some of the energy and move it through our body with what I like to call knocking on heaven's door. It's used in different modalities under different names. So you may have done this before if you do any like qigong or tai chi or anything like that, you may have done this move just under a different name. But we have these meridian points in the body that run up and down through it, and sometimes they can store old energy and just crap we don't need. So it's good to break it up, flush it out. We've heated up the body. It's pretty warm, at least mine is. So it's a good time to break it up, flush it out, get rid of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift to one side, pivot on. So I'm going to shift to my right. We'll pivot on the left foot. Bring your arms around, and then you're just going to go to the other side. And then you can make that more fluid, just swinging side to side. One hand usually will come and hit on your hip, the other usually on the booty. You could do your lower back. You can even reverse your hands. You could do up by your chest if you'd like, and a little bit more towards your back, just depending on what you need. You can play with it. You can move in a circle. So we're just going to sway back and forth. Make sure you're not around any doors or anything that you can knock over, walls that you can knock into, anything like that, because you are swinging your arms around. My poor plant over here is getting a little beat up. Sorry. But you're just going to move back and forth, smile, have fun with this, play. It can be fun. Keep moving. Have some fun. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then when you feel ready, start to slow it down. Don't bring it to an abrupt halt. So just nice and slow, making those movements a little bit bigger. And then eventually we're going to bring it to a stop. Come back into your mountain pose. Stand up nice and straight and tall. Nice breath. See how you feel. All right, from here, we're going to make our way back down to the mat. So inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, we're going to move into our forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it go. Breathe here. Wherever you're at in your forward fold, make sure that your hands are planted firmly on the mat. We'll step one foot back, then the other, coming back into our plank pose. This is our last plank pose, so make it the best one yet. Breathe here. If you'd like to work in half plank, you certainly can. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll shift our hips up and back, downward facing dog. This is our last one of this. So take a few moments to breathe and just enjoy this nice stretch. After your next exhale, go ahead and bring your knees to the mat. You can untuck the toes, bring your knees as wide as the mat, big toes to touch, and then we'll sink our hips back, walk our fingertips forward, melt your head and your heart to the mat. Extended child's pose. Take a rest. Take some nice big breaths here. We're going to start cooling everything down. From here, start to slowly roll it up. You can walk your hands back. You can shift your weight over to one side, swing those legs around. I'm going to recenter myself on my mat, so you might need to do the same. We're going to come down to our backs. You have to move. You can't be here right now. Thank you, Sam. That's a good boy. All right, so we're going to do one more nice hip opening stretch. We'll twist and then we'll close out our practice with a nice Shavasana. This next pose can be a little bit tricky as well, but I'll walk you through it if you haven't done it. So feet on the mat, knees bent. Go ahead and bring one knee in, doesn't matter which one. From here, you can grab on to the outer edge of your foot. Maybe if you can't reach the outer edge of your foot or that's not in your body today, your ankle, maybe your pant leg, maybe just behind the thigh. So choose your option. And then wherever you're at, whatever you grab, kick the sole of that foot to the sky. So this is a half happy baby. We're going to come into a full happy baby. So to come into a full happy baby, you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Really let your lower back feel flush with your mats. You can roll side to side, stretching one leg out and then the other. Imagine a happy baby. Or if you can't, again, grab the outer edges of your feet. You can grab your ankles. You can even do this just grabbing onto the back of your thighs. So do whatever feels right in your body today. Feel a nice big stretch. Breathe here. There used to be a meme that was going around about sunning your butthole, and this was the pose that they always showed in it. So that's what I think of when doing this pose. It's not a pose I teach very often because of that. All right. When you've had enough of that, go ahead and release it. Let your feet hit the mat. We'll go ahead and stretch the legs out long and away. Then when you're ready, you can bring one knee in. I'm going to bring my right knee in. Just give it a little bit of a hug here. And then I'm going to cross that right knee over to the left side, feeling a nice twist in my lower and mid back. You can stretch that right arm out, and then you can look over at that right arm. I do like to put like my opposite hand on the leg, so my left hand is on my right leg. And then my right leg is just kind of resting on my inner left thigh, just for some support. But I'm not using this left hand to push down on the knee at all. So it's just there just for some support. I'm just going to breathe here, feeling that nice twist. Wringing out the internal organs. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, we'll return it to center. You can go ahead and stretch that right leg out long and away. We'll bring the left leg in, give it a nice little hug here. And then you can cross that leg over the midline, stretching the left arm out, feeling that nice twist again. I'm feeling it about here. Feels really good. Breathe. One more breath here. And then exhale, we'll return it to center and then let that left leg stretch out long and away. Take up space on your mat. Your arms can come out at a 45-degree angle. Let your feet just fall open. If it feels safe in your body, you can close down the eyes. Or if not, just keep a gentle, just soften your gaze a little bit. If you like to use any other props for your Shavasana practice, you certainly can get yourself set up for that. Otherwise, take this time just to breathe and to reflect on your practice and thank your body and yourself for all of the effort that you put in today. Today's practice was not easy. There's lots of balancing work, lots of core work, but you got through it. So just thank yourself. Feel appreciation and gratitude for your body and all that it's able to do for you. I am going to go quiet here for a moment, but know that I am here, holding space for you. And when it's time, I will guide you out of this final resting posture. So for today's practice, I pulled Chameleon Spirit, and its message is to act as if. Chameleon Spirit shares her gift with you today to prepare you for changes that will greatly benefit you. Outer conditions are changing, and you're required to come into harmony with them so you can co-create your greatest dream. Feeling sensitive? Good. Because that will come in handy, enabling you to determine how best to adapt to your environment and the people in it, while at the same time maintaining your integrity and inner equilibrium. Even if you feel like you're in uncharted territory, Chameleon Spirit has complete faith in your ability to fit in and learn the lay of the land, adapting as necessary. This is a fortunate time to act as if and do as others do until the new ways feel familiar and completely natural. Life is offering you a great lesson now. Adapting isn't about losing yourself. It's about learning how to dance with others. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana, then go ahead and stay as long as time allows. If you need to return to your day, then slowly start to deepen your breaths. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes, bringing some life back into them. When you feel ready, place one foot on the mat and then the other. Keep your knees bent. From there, I invite you to roll to your favorite side, coming into a little fetal position, and just hang out there for a few breaths. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and come back to a nice, comfortable seat, bringing your head and neck up last. If your eyes happen to still be closed, you can blink them open. Welcome the world back around you into your sight. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for today's practice. I hope you found it super beneficial. For anyone on the live, if you're interested in the replay, that will be on Patreon later on today. The link is in my bio. I do have a subscription service there. So on that platform on Patreon, it has every single practice I've ever done in a whole library. So you can access that on demand at any time. If you're seeing this on YouTube, same thing for you guys. The link for my Patreon account is in the bio. So you can check that out. There is a 7-day free trial. There's all sorts of lengths and styles there. So if you're interested, head there. Otherwise, I will be back next week on TikTok for a live session. And that replay will be on Patreon after that. So I hope to see you there. And I hope everyone keeps all your fingers for this upcoming holiday tomorrow and toes and everything else. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your support. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful, safe holiday. Namaste.